All right, we are live on a Sunday. Normally that means a coach has been hired, a coach has been fired, or a team's fighting to make the playoffs. And it's the latter of those. Lance Taylor, Jim Dunaway, Ryan Brown. We are going to react live to whatever the College Football Playoff Selection Committee does in about 15 minutes from right now on ESPN. We'll give you our live reaction, but let's talk about a few things first. As I said, we've got about 15 minutes until that happens. We were all there last night. Lance Taylor, I'll start with you. Because we had talked about Alabama should be fine unless, and then the unless happened last night, perhaps.
The unless happened, and I know you saw Commissioner Sankey this morning as I did in the lobby, and he said he didn't get a lot of sleep last night. But listening on the way back to Birmingham today, it seems like the majority of people think Alabama's still squarely in this thing. I don't know how you guys feel. I just think for the committee, I think it's an easy out if you don't want to have the Notre Dame Miami argument. Again, if Alabama is out at this point, I think the problem becomes what is the future of conference championship games? Because as we were all told a couple of years ago, anybody that plays in this game is not going to be out of the college football playoff. But that was a worst case scenario, Alabama losing 28-7.
I would say first that scores can be deceptive. But I'll say this first. There's no way everyone's going to be happy. And if it's Miami and Notre Dame, I totally understand it. If it's Alabama and Notre Dame, I understand it. If it's Alabama and Miami, I understand it. So I understand whatever happens today. But I would say 28-7 is different. The block punt counts, but that's a block punt. But the touchdown, when you go for it 4th and 2 on the 12, that is a coach not worried about the mirror, the front of the house, the way it looks. He's trying to play and win a championship. So that touchdown, when you take over on the 12, doesn't really factor into the blowout scenario everyone's talking. It was a dominating Georgia win. Alabama was never in that game and had a chance to win it. But I give Kalen DeBoer credit for trying to win the game in that situation, which tacked on another touchdown that really I don't think Georgia earned. That was more of a 21-7 game than it was a 28-7 game. And in my opinion, technically it was more of a 14-0 type game in favor of Georgia. Alabama got one that probably Georgia was playing just to, keep everything in front. And then Georgia got a couple that I'm not sure their offense actually earned. So it was probably a 2-touchdown win by Georgia any way you look at it, except for the final score that's 28-7. So that's the blowout scenario for me. The other scenario is the eye test, which Brownie, LT, they use this a lot throughout those Tuesday night shows. The eye test tells you Notre Dame and Miami are playing better football than Alabama is right now. The question is, do you factor in the fact, are they playing better football because of the competition? And if they were playing Alabama's schedule, would they look not as smooth as they look with who they're playing? And would Alabama look better if they were playing who Notre Dame is playing? That's what you got to weigh. And that's why it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't scenario for this committee, because whoever is out can make some kind of, whether it's a strength of schedule, a head-to-head, or we're playing better football, look at the eye test than we were in September. There's just no correct answer. Or if you're in, there's no wrong answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious thing, guys, is Alabama's offense is broken.
Yep.
It's really broken. And I think when you look at this, and look, Oklahoma's is too, but Oklahoma's got this dominant defense. And look, they beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So, I don't know how many elite teams there are in college football, but when you watch Alabama the last month, sans the Eastern Illinois game, the offense just isn't good right now. So if we are playing eye test, I know the competition is completely different with Miami and Notre Dame to Alabama, but Alabama does not look like a team that can win a national championship at all right now.
And that's the thing I would say, to your point, Jim. While all those things you say may or may not be true, the committee may or may not view those. If you watched last night through the lens of, can I determine a national champion, whether we're at Alabama, you watched that game and said, you know what, I think I can determine a national championship without Alabama being involved. And I watched that game and thought that, Alabama does not look like a national championship contender right now. Their offense is broken. As Lance just said, they can't run the ball to save their life. And because they can't run the ball, they can't throw the ball. And their special teams has been a liability all year. and it has started to show up more and more. I look at this and say, now if they're in, they're in. But if I look at this through the lens of, can I determine a national championship without Alabama involved? My answer right now is yes, I can.
Yeah, well, you can. The question is, have you earned enough to get in there, or are we just trying to put in, because James Madison and Tulane aren't contending for a national championship?
No. Let me follow up on that, because you're right. I also, on the other side of that, I would say, can I determine a national championship without Oklahoma? 100% I can. Oklahoma's not winning a national championship. So you do have to have 12 teams. As we always talk about, like in the NCAA basketball tournament, you got to have 68. You're going to have 12. So you're going to put in teams that can't win a national championship. Some have earned their way, some have not. So, Alabama is not going to be alone in that group. But watching Alabama last night, that is not a national championship.
This is a problem, because before last night, I would have said Alabama deserves to be in. And again, they're getting punished for playing in this game, because watching them last night, they looked so bad. I understand why the committee would take them out. But again, if they were Ole Miss or A&M or Oklahoma, they didn't have to play in this game.
Yeah.
If Alabama was just coming off a close 7-point win against Auburn, you can stomach that. It's a rival, it's on the road, that kind of thing. But watching last night, if they're ultimately out, they get punished because they played in that game.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe this game is ultimately going to be out the window if Alabama is on the outside.
Yeah, and I was not around for your conversation with the commissioner, so please share with us anything that you can share from that conversation. But I would say this, that you're right about A&M or Oklahoma or Ole Miss, but more importantly, you've got to factor in where Notre Dame and Miami was yesterday, because those are who Alabama is being compared to now, on whether they're in this thing or not in this thing. And Alabama was having to play one spot ahead of Notre Dame and 3 spots ahead of Miami. And if they had just said, no, thank you. Anybody else want to go play Georgia, the number 3 team? Maybe the best team in the country right now, maybe the second best, maybe the 3rd best team in the country, depending on where you have that great Indiana team or Ohio State right now. Give me the chance to sit at home and be guaranteed to be in the playoff. Everyone in the chat wants us to talk about the injuries for Alabama. And I'll do that here, but I will say this up front. Coming off of what we saw a couple of years ago in a 14 playoff now, but the quarterback was out for Florida State, but injuries were a consideration. And I think you can go back to 2017, where who was the Auburn running back? Was that Trey Mason?
Trey Mason,
yeah. He was banged up.
Was it Kerryon Johnson?
It was Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah. So Kerryon banged up. I think Auburn had a chance to win the SEC championship that year in that game, but he was playing 50%, probably gutting it out, trying to win for Auburn. Auburn fell out of the playoffs. That was only 4 teams, but they fell out of the playoffs, and Alabama got in 17. So to me, if Alabama's left out today, you can make a case it's because of injuries. And yesterday, no Jam Miller, he didn't play. Now, if I'm Alabama, I'm making a case in 12 days or 13 days. If you play on a Friday or Saturday, he's going to be available. Daniel Hill was banged up. Kevin Riley was out. That's the running back position. Tight end Josh Cuevas out. Is he going to be ready in 12 or 13 days? I would need to know that. Cam Dewberry didn't play yesterday. Your starting left guard. Is he going to be able to play coming up? Taylor Brailsford, I've seen it for a couple of weeks. Brown, you finally saw it in person. What did his ankle look like yesterday? How much was it taped?
Lance, the wrap on his ankle, what is that? It's his left, or is it his right?
I think it's his left, but I get backwards sometimes.
Right ankle or opposite ankle, normal, just spatting, the way they do it with the black tape. When I tell you it was that wide, and he couldn't even, how your foot's flat like that when you walk it, he couldn't even bend it. He was stepping like that right there. That's how tight. Parker Brailsford, and I know he didn't play a ton. I don't even know how he got on the field. That guy, he's got one leg right now.
Yeah,
one foot.
Is he? They're coached up well. I interviewed him post game. How healthy are you? I'm fine. Are you? How bad are you injured? I'm fine. And Jeremy Bernard, he's banged up. We've all seen Jeremy play all year. Does he look the same right now? No, he's banged up. Ty Simpson is banged up. So I think health is an issue. I don't know if the committee members take it in. will they all be better in 12 or 13 days? If they're all healthy in 12 or 13 days, I think Alabama can go out and play with anybody in the country. But if that team that was on the field yesterday that now they're being judged by is that the team you're putting on the field, then probably they don't deserve to be in. But if you're telling me 12 to 13 days from now, and I don't know if there's any way of knowing this, that all those guys are back close to 100% and healthy, then that I think this Alabama team's a playoff team. The team they put on the field yesterday, unfortunately in front of a huge audience, is not a playoff team.
Yeah, I think the easy argument for the committee is the team that we are judging right now is the team that is banged up, and you can't really know if Alabama is going to be healthy in 12 or 13 days. And go back to Florida State, what you had with oh my God, Jordan Travis. They knew he wasn't going to be playing, so it was an easy out for them. But if you're just looking at it right now, if I'm part of the committee, I am just assuming that the team I saw yesterday is the team I'm going to see in the college football playoff.
So I present what I'm about to present with the caveat of I don't know if it's accurate or not, but FanDuel has up already, and I assume you can bet on these at FanDuel, first-round point spreads.
Oh, yeah. I had them earlier. I tweeted them out, Brownie. Very interesting, huh?
Yeah. So they've got Alabama as a 4.5-point dog at Texas A&M, and they've got that as a 9-7 game, though, so that would – well, they're doing, I guess,
where they were. It would be a 10-7 matchup.
Yeah, 10-7, yeah. And they've got Notre Dame at Oklahoma. Notre Dame favored by 5.5 at Oklahoma. They do have James Madison in. Oregon, a 21.5-point favorite in that one. And then Tulane, a 17.5-point dog at Ole Miss. I present that with the caveat of that could be wrong. I'm just telling you. Sometimes stuff like this leaks out. Brett McMurphy, Lance, he had this before anybody last year, before ESPN even hit the air.
Yeah, are you watching McMurphy right now? I mean, has he sent anything out yet?
He is not yet. No, I have been watching him today,
Just looking at my bookie odds right now to make the college football playoff, Notre Dame is minus 1,000, yes. Alabama's minus 340, yes. And Notre Dame is almost minus 200, no. So my bookie, at least these numbers are probably pretty accurate with other books out there. They are saying that Miami is going to be the odd team out. We shall see.
Yeah, and I would tell you, LT, this morning when I looked at that was minus 240, then minus 260 Alabama. So that's now up to minus 340. So
yeah, it continues to go up.
Yeah,
Miami's continues to go up on the no. I mean, it's like moving right now. So there might be, I mean, according to this, good news for Alabama fans. But if you're an Alabama fan, it's nice to get into this college football playoff, but what are the chances of making any noise after the team you saw the last couple of weeks?
Just Sack in the chat room says Bama is minus 5,000 where he's looking. Miami's minus 355 a no. He says odds are surging to see what you're talking about. Odds are surging for Bama right now.
Just to guess before we see it in a few minutes, you guys think Indiana won, right? That's the obvious one.
Yep.
What a win for them last night, man. That is just an incredible job by
they're a really good team. Georgia's got to be two.
You think Georgia 2 in front of Ohio State? Okay.
I do. I think Ohio State will drop to 3, and then I think Texas Tech's going to be 4.
Yeah, and then Oregon 5.
Yeah. I just based on this, Oregon 5, Ole Miss 6, A&M 7, Notre Dame 8, Alabama probably 9. I mean, I think Alabama's going to get in. I don't think they're going to get in.
For me, I'm going to move Ole Miss over Oregon. I'm going to put Ole Miss 5, Oregon 6. I'm going to put Duke in, not James Madison. I know I'm the only guy in the country that believes that, but Duke.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. James Madison should not be in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just the way I would do this, guys. And I know the show is starting, and you know how they'll do this. We'll get all the ones we know are in, and the last one will be the Alabama. We'll do the bottom of the rankings and then the top guys. But I would say this. I would go Indiana 1. I would keep Ohio State 2. I would go 3 Georgia, 4 Texas Tech. Those would be your buys. My 5-12 would be Duke going to Ole Miss. My 11-6 would be Tulane going to Oregon. My 10-7 would be Alabama going to Texas A&M. My 9-8 would be Notre Dame going to Oklahoma. That's the way I would do it.
Yeah, that's the way FanDuel Well, close to the way FanDuel has it. So we'll see if they have been leaked something,
but real
or
quick
if
for
they're
the
just
committee, I mean, for the committee, it is kind of easy. Like, you can easily put Miami and Notre Dame in and avoid that argument.
You can, and you're also scratching a lot of backs there. I know you're making Greg Sankey mad about the fifth SEC team, the number one regular season ranked team, but you're also getting big power player Notre Dame and an ACC team in. And if you go Alabama, then you're leaving out one of those big players, Brownie, either
Yeah.
the ACC or Notre Dame. Unless you put Notre Dame in and put Duke in ahead of James Madison, then everybody is covered again.
I will say, I'll back up what Lance said. You must have been in the hotel lobby minutes before me, Lance, because I walked down to head to the valet stand to get them to bring my car around. First thing Greg Sankey does is give me grief for wearing this and talk about the Buffalo Bills. And as we both went to get our car together, I said, "How you feeling today?" And a surprising lack of confidence. Like, you always expect the SEC to be like, "We're the SEC, we're fine, they're not going to be punished." He did not exude that level of confidence to me or to you, obviously.
No. But I mean, again, you're still getting 4 in worst case,
Yeah.
right? So,
yeah.
And I believe, Dunaway, I think you kind of made this point, sans the Georgia Tech game, this Georgia team they are clicking right now. So, like, I going into this, I like Indiana a lot. I still like Ohio State a lot, but I think Georgia probably wins this whole thing.
Yeah, I like the way Georgia's defense is playing. I've seen them now 3 times in person, and their secondary. We haven't instantly yesterday. The talk turned to, is Alabama in or out? We didn't really talk about the game a lot, but they were able to play that game virtually with 7 people in the box all day long. And their secondary was able to cover Alabama's receivers man to man. And that was something they could not do. Remember how Ryan Grubb, he had Kirby and Schumann's head spinning in the first half in Athens earlier this year. They motioned everywhere. Everything was working. It didn't seem like Georgia had an answer. Second half, they found an answer. And then for 4 quarters yesterday, it was like I was watching the 2011 national championship game, Bama and LSU, because Kirby was barely letting Alabama for most of that game across midfield. It was insanity.
No, it was. Alabama played that entire game basically in their own territory, which is just crazy for a power team like Alabama and on a stage like that. Lance, will Georgia? They won't be the betting favorite in this thing, right? Would Indiana be the betting favorite in this thing?
I think Ohio State's still going to be your betting favorite. I really do. Yeah, I think it's going to be Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia. I think they're all going to be pretty close, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Kirk Cignetti, Brownie, showed again. I'm sitting there watching it at 2:40 to go in the game, and Indiana's getting the ball back, and he talked about it afterwards about how he says with that time, their timeouts, the 2-minute timeout, we felt like it was going to be 14 or 16 plays left.
That was amazing.
Game.
That was amazing to me, just the level of detail he went into there.
So we felt like we needed 3 first downs. And he said, that's why we threw the football, because I'm not punting it back to them with 2 minutes to go, even if they've got no timeouts, or a minute 50, minute 45, if they've got no time. I don't care. We're playing to win the game. You get a lot of that from Kalen DeBoer. It was great to see Kirk Cignetti do that. Now, he was able to do that with the worst case scenario. I'm going to be the 3 seed in this thing. But they were playing for a historic championship. And I just thought that was brilliant coaching. Mendoza, when he got knocked out for a couple of plays early on, I didn't know if he was coming back. And he came back and played great. I thought he outplayed Julian Sayin. The Indiana secondary, I know Jeremiah had moments, the greatest receiver in the country, some think, but I thought they shut him down. Their offensive line is airtight. There are first-round draft picks all over that Ohio State defense, and that Indiana offensive line, airtight. That's solid performance there against Indiana. They were impressive at Oregon. They were impressive, against Penn State, everywhere to come back against Penn State. But to do that against Ohio State is the last check mark you need to say, okay, they're a championship contender. Forget the logo.
Yeah, this is the greatest turnaround in college football history. It really is. Look, Vanderbilt has done an incredible job and sitting at 10-2 right now, and they're going to be on the outside. But what Kirk Cignetti has done, and I don't know if you guys agree, but I've said it for a while now. I think he is a top 3, 4, 5 coach right now in college football. I don't think you can deny it.
No, I don't disagree with you. The way that team plays and what they've done the last 2 years, and they're about to be the overall #1 seed in the second ever college football playoff. That is just a remark. You heard Urban say it. I don't know if you could hear it, Lance. I know where you were watching the game, Jim. You saw it. I was back up in my hotel room after bailing on Lance for the fourth quarter. Urban Meyer at the end of that game said exactly what Lance just said. This is the greatest turnaround we've ever seen in college football history. And to hear a guy like Urban Meyer say that about Signetios, those are pretty big words there from a guy like Urban.
Well, I mean, it's the losingest program of all time, them or Purdue, of major college football. And now they've just won a Big Ten championship, and it wasn't some fluky, co-championship or anything like that. They beat the #1 team, defending national champion, all those first rounders to do it. And you're sitting here now in a situation where he's done it in back-to-back years. Say what you want about his out-of-conference schedule. They're really good. We'll see what it can do. Jess Sack in our chat room says it got to Bama -500 on FanDuel, and then they pulled it down now. He says that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Do you see the same thing?
Yeah. Everything's pulled down now. I mean, it looks, again, not to get Alabama fans excited or anti-Alabama fans depressed here, but it looks like Alabama, based on these numbers, is going to get in. We'll see what happens here. It looks like Miami's out, but hell, who knows?
I gotta say, based on some of the reaction I got last night, Lance, I don't know how excited Alabama fans are going to be about this. They don't like this the way this team is playing.
Really? Do you think Alabama, if they are playing in College Station, which kind of looks like the matchup right now, Alabama fans travel, but man, you can't be excited about buying a ticket, flying to Houston and go to that game right now.
It's tough. Now, I will say the one unit for Alabama that continues to play well is their defense. I think Alabama's defense is playing to a level where they could beat a Texas A&M. As good as that offense could be, they just don't have the offense to match with it last night. But Georgia didn't get 300 yards last night. And to Jim's point, you had a touchdown off a block kick, you had a touchdown off an interception, you had a touchdown off a fourth down conversion when Alabama had to go for it on fourth down. Georgia drove for one score in that game, and I'm all those points count. I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying you don't pin 3 of those touchdowns on Alabama's defense. They were put in an impossible situation 3 times, basically.
I agree with you guys. Yeah. The betting market. What are those things called now? The Kalashis or whatever, and
Kalashis.
Yeah. What is it called?
It's I think Kalshi and Polymarket. Polymarket's the one that is going crazy right now for Alabama.
Yeah. And apparently on the one that starts with a K, according to our chat room, Miami is doing well in that one. Could they have taken it down, LT, at -500 because Alabama is out and they were getting too much exposure there,
or because the show's starting?
Yeah, I think it's the show started more so. I don't really think it had anything to do with the way the money was moving, but I think they've just kind of locked everything out right now.
Okay.
I don't know I know Saban's on there right now. Is Saban pro Alabama on this, or?
I would think so. He's wearing a red coat. He's got on the colors. We've brought on every analyst. They've
the crazy thing is Alabama always seemed to get the benefit when it was a 14 playoff, but starting with last year, we'll see how it goes this year. Do you guys feel better this year than last year about Alabama getting in?
Brown does. You can't hear him all of a sudden for some reason, but you can now. It's really soft for some reason in my headset. Yeah. I would say I see you nodding your head, so I'll say yes. For me, I'm just exhausted on trying to be upset or not upset about it. You know what I mean? That it's just been so many years now in a row of being on that line where Alabama's the discussion point. It would be emotionally so much easier if they were all in or all out. If they were where Georgia is now, or where sadly where Auburn is right now. That way you don't have emotions on this Sunday to be right on the bubble. Who was always the bubble? It was the Virginia Tech. Yeah. I don't know how those fans lived in basketball all those years. Being on the bubble sucks. It's too much emotions.
Well, the unfortunate thing, one of the unfortunate things is if Alabama doesn't get in, I can't imagine how, and I'm sure people are already upset with Kalen DeBoer, but how much that pendulum swings on Kalen DeBoer is not the right guy. And that's going to be the narrative if they don't get in. Even if they get in, we'll see what happens. But, and this is a guy that was 7-1 in top 10 matchups going into yesterday, but they just, they looked outmatched.
Yeah, I would tell you, Marty Smith. I was getting my truck as he was getting his rental with his crew. He got word, apparently really close to when he was getting his rental, that his job today was to drive from Atlanta to Tuscaloosa. And as he was scrambling to get into that rental car to get there, he's putting his final bag in the back, and whoever the guy who was driving him hit the close button, and it whacks Marty in the top of the head.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, that while people are walking by, Marty's trying to load his luggage, and people are like, "Hey, Marty Smith, roll tide," and Marty's like, trying to get to Tuscaloosa so he could get 2 hours sleep. He's like, "Roll tide," and then as he's saying that to a group of Alabama fans passing, Georgia fans are passing, saying, "Oh, Marty, come on, man, roll tide," and he's like, "Go dog," and he's biting luggage and he's doing that. The guy closes the door in his head, and I didn't want to bother him, but I texted him as he was pulling away. I was like, "Dude, you just got decapitated by that door," and hopped in there. And he's like, "Jimmy, they're trying to kill me. I've got to drive to Tuscaloosa and be up and live on the air at 6 a.m."
No, I hung out with Marty for a minute Friday in the hotel, and he's going to come on with us when he gets a chance to breathe. I think he told the story on McAfee, but he was telling me a smaller version of the story about them chasing Lane down at the airport. I don't know if you've heard the story. It's hilarious.
He went off road.
Yeah, he had to go off road, Lance. They're in a 16 passenger rental van. You know what I'm talking about? And Lane, Marty's like, I know Lane's not getting anywhere close to the crowd. I don't know how to get. It's an airport I've never been to. I don't know how to get out there. Lane's texting me where to go. I finally find the road I'm supposed to be on. I top a hill, and the fire department's got the road closed. And he says, I could see at the top of the hill Lane's SUV waiting on me, and it's the only road. He goes, so I'm driving the van. I just dive off and drive through a pasture. And he goes, the van's just bouncing through a pasture, and I get it back up on the road. And he goes, I get to the top of the hill, and Kiffin's got tears in his eyes laughing at us. He was standing there watching the whole thing. So only Marty. Now he's in Tuscaloosa. I hope he made it without having to go off road.
Yeah, and he's dressed in a coat that looks like he's about to play the Opry.
Yeah, it's a very interesting coat choice from Marty today.
Yeah, we're going through all the reporters now. They've got one everywhere. They've got Marty in Tuscaloosa. Jen Latta is at Notre Dame. Chris Budden is right now. She's in Miami Gardens with the Hurricanes.
I've never seen Jen Latta in my life. Have you guys?
She's on game day.
Game day, yeah. Yeah. I would say this, like Molly did the ACC championship game in Charlotte. Alyssa was able probably to leave at halftime and catch a flight to go to Ole Miss, probably flew into Memphis and then drove down to Oxford, I would assume. Everyone I see, like Miami, everybody flew somewhere except for Marty, who I think had to drive from Atlanta to Tuscaloosa because that was going to be the easiest way to do it.
McGrath and Durham, North Carolina, I put Duke in on that alone, that they sent Molly over there.
Because of
because I got a crush on Molly, man. I like Molly McGrath.
Yeah. I truly believe Duke's going to be in this thing, and I know I thought I was the only one, but Lance is there.
No, I agree. I mean, you cannot put James Madison in this thing. You can't do it. You can't do it. I mean, they played one Power 4 school and they lost by 14 to a very average Louisville team. You can't do it.
Yeah. Well, and, the argument against Miami to that discussion, the argument I heard a lot last night from SEC people is if Duke wins this ACC championship game, Miami wasn't even good enough to get in that game in their own conference. How do you put that team in? And I mean, it's a legitimate argument. You could go eye test and say Miami looks better than Alabama, but they both played a full conference schedule in the worst conference in America. Miami wasn't even good enough to be one of those two teams last
night. No doubt. But I mean, really, think about this. Alabama at 10-2 is in this thing if they didn't play yesterday. And nobody's got a problem with Alabama at 10-2 being in if they didn't play yesterday.
Yeah.
If they are not in, it is going to be because of the optics of yesterday's game. 1,000%.
Yeah. The old. This is why we talk about can playing in the championship game hurt you? Because you're right, Lance. If they seeded this thing after the Iron Bowl, as bad as Alabama's performance offensively was in the Iron Bowl, they are easy in.
Yeah. Look, I think yesterday's atmosphere. I didn't leave, believe it or not, until the end of the third quarter. But I did get out of there where I could run over to the hotel bar and get a table before Indiana, Ohio State started up. But I thought the atmosphere was pretty good. But if Alabama is out, I don't know if we'll ever see another SEC championship game. I'm being serious.
I don't know if they can kill him that quick, Jim.
Yeah, I would make a point that we don't have a playoff format set up for next year. I don't think we ever see a 12-team format like it is right now. If Alabama's not in today, I think you'll see the group of fives not be included next year. I think you will see a 16-team playoff. I think you will see automatic bids, and then you will see wild cards for the rest of the teams that don't get the automatic bids. And I think that would be a lot of SEC teams. I think the G5s go away, and some other things if Alabama's left out.
Yeah, look, I don't necessarily have a problem with computers like telling us 1 through 16 who those teams are. But back to a point you made weeks and weeks ago. Like, I think it's almost, we need to make this format where we take it out of everyone's hands, where it is more NFL-like, and you've got the guidelines going in and you know exactly where you stand. I think that's probably the way to play this thing out.
Yeah, we're heading, Brandon. I don't know if you have the results yet. I don't know if it's coming to you from someone else, but just interrupt me if so. We are this close to going to 32 teams managed by the Big Ten and the SEC, whatever we end up calling it, and getting rid of so many of the teams around the edge and just be 32 teams in an NFL-like style where it's just the biggest brands. And I'm at that point now where I think I'm okay with that because of the payments, the transfer portals, all of that. I think I'm just okay with that now.
Yeah, and I agree with you. The old Super League idea is the path we're going. I don't think you're wrong about that.
Yeah, and you're able then, Brown, to play like schedules. You'd have divisions where you'd play divisions and things like that.
Yeah.
Here
so
we go.
Yep. We're about to. Heather Dinich just did her bit, telling us how long the committee deliberated on this, and now we're about to unveil the teams.
To 2:30 in the morning, Brown. They worked until 2:30 in the morning.
So hey, have we ever had one of these where we don't have drama? I mean, last year, there was still a little drama with Alabama.
Yeah. Well, it's made for TV. What I love is the national people. Hey, and heck, I do it too, because I'm sitting here saying you can't punish a team for, winning their way into the SEC championship game. And I don't know what I was saying in 2017, but Auburn won their way into the SEC championship game and absolutely got pushed out, and Alabama got pushed in. That was just a one-loss Alabama team, but it was head-to-head to Auburn. So I contradict myself all the time too, as I think people who talk about the playoffs, but you have some people who are saying SMU, who had a horrible strength of schedule last year, 75th, shouldn't be penalized for losing the ACC and fall out in that championship game. And those same people are saying you cannot allow this Alabama team to stay in, and Alabama's strength of schedule is 6th in the country. It's that's, you're just telling me right there you're anti-SEC.
Yeah, this is where it gets tough, because I think even when we expand, there's only going to be 4 or 5 teams that can win the whole thing. That's the thing. I just don't think Alabama can win a national championship. I thought they could a month ago. I just don't think they can.
But you would say the same Oklahoma too, right?
I would say, but I do. What's weird is I believe that Miami, based on head-to-head, should be in front of Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame can win the whole thing. I really do. I don't think Miami's got any shot either.
Yeah. For some reason, go ahead, Bram.
No, of course we've talked about Tulane, and we don't think, obviously nobody thinks they can win it. If James Madison's in, nobody thinks they can. If Duke's in, nobody thinks they can. That's the whole thing, is you're going to have half this field where nobody thinks they can win a national championship. Alabama's going to be in that group, obviously.
I think there's 4 teams that can win the national championship, and that is it.
And you think it's Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and who?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Wow.
If they get in.
If they get in, yeah.
So it's the weirdest.
You guys, give me a team outside of those 4 that you feel good about.
You're going to think I'm crazy, but I think Texas Tech could. I really do. I think Texas Tech is rich man's Indiana.
We don't really have a kind of a barometer, though, because they haven't played anybody outside the conference. So I know. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, and again, I think BYU kind of gets punished for playing that game yesterday. They looked so bad in their 2 games against Texas Tech. Yeah. There's no chance they're getting in, and I'm not saying they deserve to get in, but Texas Tech could be the best team in college football. We'll see.
And those in the chat room that are saying, Alabama gets the benefit of the doubt all the time. They do. Not going to argue with that. They've gotten the benefit of the doubt a lot of times throughout college football history, but specifically since we've gone to the playoffs. Part of that is being in the SEC, and some of you are saying the SEC gets the benefit of the doubt all the time. They do, but I think a lot of that comes down to the respect you get on just how tough this conference is. Now, is 5 teams in? Is that asking too much? Greg Sankey at one point thought 7 should be under consideration. I would say watch at the bottom. With North Texas's loss, does Missouri or Tennessee sneak back into that 25th slot? That'll be interesting. That helps Alabama's resume.
Where are you guys right now? Vanderbilt is a better. I know Alabama beat them by double digits, but I think Vanderbilt is playing better than Alabama right now. Is that fair?
Yeah. They're a more complete team right now. Now, look, I mean, if they played today on a neutral site, would Alabama beat Vanderbilt? I don't know. But Vanderbilt's a more complete team. They're playing better offensively for sure, and their defense is obviously very, very good.
Yeah, that game was closer in Tuscaloosa, Brownie. I think we've made this point several times on the air that score was not indicative of how close that Alabama-Vandy game was. So, where Alabama is physically right now, LT, I probably would take Vandy to win that game, and they get no discussion at all, zero discussion. Texas gets more discussion than Alabama does.
I don't know that Alabama beat Texas right now on a neutral site. That'd be a really difficult game for Alabama. I mean, a lot of teams would be for Alabama the way they're playing right now.
We do our SEC power ratings pretty much every week. I guess we haven't done it the last couple of weeks, but I don't even know where you guys would have Alabama right now in the SEC.
Again, they were the 1 seed in the championship game, so it's hard to drop them too far. But the way they look right now, I mean,
I think there's 4 or 5 teams that are better right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Alabama Ole Miss is a really, really difficult matchup for Alabama, assuming Ole Miss responds well to Pete Golding. That there's always that unknown. So you don't know. All right, they've got an empty bracket up.
Indiana's number 1.
No shock.
No surprise. They earned it.
Yeah. Am I behind or on time? Was that on time with you?
You're actually a touch ahead of me.
Man, imagine you're in a 2-year coma and you waking up right now and you see Indiana's the 1 seed.
Yeah.
I know.
Is it March? Is it March already? What region are they in?
I mean, what has happened to college football? Yeah. Indiana is number 1.
Yeah, is Bobby Knight still coaching them? How long was that?
I ran into our buddy Connor O'Gary yesterday before the game in the sports bar, and I told him, I was like, Indiana's going to win tonight. And he's like, you're just saying that to be nice. And I'm like, I legitimately, I think they might be the best team in college football. And even a guy that is an Indiana grad couldn't buy into it.
Yeah. Keep in mind, that means Ohio State's the 2 seed, Jim.
Is 2.
Yeah, and real quick, that means Indiana will play their semifinal or their quarterfinal game, I should say, their first game in the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
That's where the Big Ten champ goes. So Indiana will be in the Rose Bowl playing whoever survives the game opposite them in the 8-9, which we'll know very, very shortly. Which, by the way, could be Alabama. I mean, Alabama could be the 9 seed. That would be a Rose Bowl trip if somehow Alabama managed to get past the 8-9 game. Alabama could be playing Indiana.
If Alabama somehow was to sneak in, I'm not opposed to going back out. I don't know about you guys.
I thought you swore that one off after the Bama-Michigan trip.
Well, we swear a lot of stuff off on this show, and then we end up doing it again when you're tired and in the moment.
Yeah,
I'm tired and in the moment right now, but I'm willing to do it.
But then when it gets to be that time again, you're always like, well, we may be able to have a good time. Number 3 is going to be Georgia, obviously. And I would agree with that if that's where they go next.
Yeah, it's got to be Georgia. And then Texas Tech's got to be 4.
Yeah, Georgia's 3. There we go.
Ohio State, Georgia 3. They will play in New Orleans. That's right, Jim. They play the quarterfinals in New Orleans. Am I correct about that?
I don't have my sound up, and I'm not on. I can pop my phone up.
No, you don't have to. That's not a big
deal. What a potential incredible semifinal game between Georgia and Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, Indiana, yeah, I mean, they earned it. But, boy, avoiding both of those teams, Indiana is in a pretty good spot, at least initially.
Yeah, I've always said I want to be the 1 or the 4. I don't like being the 2 or the 3. If my team ever gets a chance to get a bye in this thing.
I will say if the ratings hold where they were the rankings are where they were last year. 6-11 would be Ole Miss, Georgia, and a quarterfinal potentially.
Texas Tech is 4.
Interesting game. Texas Tech is the 4 seed, so they get the last bye, and now we'll get down to business on who feeds into those.
Yeah. At this point, we probably go to the bottom of the rankings.
Do they start with a 5 seed here? Is that the way they're going to do it?
No, I think Jim. Well, I don't know that Jim. You kind of know the 5 and all that. They may wait. They may build it up to the bottom of the bracket.
Yeah, they've given the 4 buys. It seems like in the past, haven't they gone and now shown us the rankings from the bottom up, 25 up?
The way the rest of this show is going, we'll hit the reporters again to see what the reaction was at all those campuses.
Hey, if you don't believe money can get you where you need to go, Texas Tech is the ultimate example.
Yep.
I mean, they had a big booster come in and say, I think I can buy us into the national championship. And there they are as the 4 seed. It worked.
Yep. And they did it in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I thought we can get more into this tomorrow or some point this week. Jordan Matthews, former Vanderbilt great that we interviewed yesterday, I thought it was really interesting, some of the comments he had on NIL.
Yeah. Oregon is the 5, by the way, Dunaway. The O is the 5. So the winner of the 5-12 will get Texas Tech.
Yeah, so that's going to keep Ole Miss at 6. I was only saying that because of the rematch. I was going to flip Ole Miss and Oregon because of the rematch of Ole Miss and Tulane and Oxford earlier this year. That's why I thought Ole Miss and Oregon could be close enough that as a committee member, I would have put Ole Miss 5 and Oregon 6. Because Ole Miss's only loss is a game that they controlled on the road at Georgia.
Yeah.
I think you can make a case that their resume is better than Oregon's. That's why I was going to move Ole Miss up to 5.
Hey, if Oregon wins their first round matchup, I actually think they might be a slight favorite over Texas Tech in the second round.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'd list Oregon at 1.5 or 2 over Texas Tech.
Ole Miss is 6.
Yep. So they get Indiana if they can advance beyond the 11 seed. We'll see who the 11 is, but get Georgia, I should say, if they can advance past the 11 seed, which you would assume they will.
I think Georgia would welcome that matchup. I know Ole Miss led in the fourth quarter of that game, but I don't think Georgia would be too afraid to play.
Well, a lot has changed since that game. Coach at Ole Miss has changed since that game. And Jim, I know you mentioned it. I feel like Georgia's playing better now than they were then, and Ole Miss is a bit of an unknown.
7 will be next, expected to be Texas A&M. It'll be interesting to see, is it Tulane Ole Miss or is it Duke and Ole Miss, and Tulane is 12. I don't think a lot of people would think that would be the case. So
yeah,
Texas A&M is 7.
I think Duke's got to be 12, and I think 11 is going to be Tulane.
So
yeah, 7 is A&M.
Yeah, they'll get Ohio State if they can advance past the 10 seed. Which now we're getting into Alabama, Notre Dame, Miami territory here as we start talking 8, 9, and 10 seeds. You still got to have Oklahoma. They're likely to be the next team up, right?
Yeah, they're likely, and that's a home game for Texas A&M, a home game for Ole Miss, and a home game for Oregon. And as you guys have said many times, Oklahoma should be the next one to pop up. And as you guys have said many times, by this time next year, we're probably talking about everybody having a home game with a 16-team format, everybody playing the first round. There's Oklahoma at 8.
How do you feel about Oklahoma, Indiana, Lance, if they can advance past this in the Rose Bowl?
I don't think Oklahoma's got the offense.
Very low scoring game, though, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. But I think Indiana's defense would completely shut them down.
Pretty bad quarterback mismatch, the way Mateer's playing right now and the way Mendoza's playing right now.
But interesting, if Oklahoma did advance, I think Indiana's probably only a 4-point favorite.
Here we go. Yeah. If we go 9 next, this will be either Notre Dame or Alabama.
Yeah, we're going to see what they do. Do they show us first team out? I mean, they've got a lot of options here.
They're probably going to find Seacrest and take us to break.
Yeah, commercial break would be really good for advertisers right now. Now we're going to resume comparisons. And for those that aren't watching, or you're watching and listening to us, strength of schedule 6th for Alabama, 44th for Notre Dame, 45th for Miami. Strength of record 10th for Alabama, 13th for Notre Dame, 14th for Miami. FPI, which I don't know why they put that up other than the
they own it.
Yeah, they own it. So here we go. Yeah. Number 9 is Alabama 9.
Wow. Yeah, they didn't even move them.
Didn't even move. Alabama's in at 9. Let the Let the fire start around the country.
Wow.
So Alabama is at Oklahoma, Lance, and we saw it earlier on FanDuel. What did I say? 4.5. Alabama was a 4.5-point dog. You think that's about where it hits?
That was 4.5.
I would have said before yesterday, if they don't play that game, I think it's probably a pick or Oklahoma won. But yeah, based on yesterday, I think it's going to be 3.5, 4. We'll see how healthy Alabama's able to get in the next few days. But yeah, they're going to be an underdog going into this game.
Yep. That was remember, Brown, that was 4.5 at Texas A&M. So it'll be interesting to see what that is with Oklahoma.
No, you're right. You're right.
Oklahoma's going to be at least a field goal favorite, I think, in this.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me if I was also 4.5, Brownie, at that point, to your point. So here's the big question at number 10. Is it? Now, if I was doing this, I'd probably go 12 and 11 first.
Yeah, build up to the 10.
Yeah.
Yes. So whoever the 10 gets Texas A&M, winner gets Ohio State. Alabama's in as the 9. They get Oklahoma, winner. That game gets Indiana in the Rose Bowl. So Bama playing for potentially another trip to the Rose Bowl. A place Alabama had not played my entire lifetime until 2009.
Can you leave one of the top 5 teams out of college football by not putting Notre Dame in this?
We're about to find out. Maybe.
A lot of talking going on about Alabama here, apparently. I don't have the audio up. I don't want to get dinged for any violations or anything. Miami is in at number 10.
Wow. Wow.
And I think by rule now, that's it for Notre Dame.
Yeah, they're
the
done.
other 2 are conference champions. Wow.
Yeah, you got either Duke, JMU, and Tulane, 2 of those 3.
Wow.
Unbelievable that they waited to the last bracket to do this. I mean, why have they not done this all year? You knew Notre Dame lost this game all year long. Why are they just now making this move?
I don't know. I just cashed in pretty good, though.
Lance buying lunch.
I did. I got him at plus 410 last week, and I told everybody to jump on that.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. And see, now Duke is not going to be in because you've appeased the ACC here with the Miami. Yeah, that is the best ACC team, Miami. And
they are. I mean, they don't deserve. There's going to be a handful of teams that don't deserve to be in this, but you got to have 12, right?
Yeah. Boy. Notre Dame, but the head-to-head. I mean, they're so close everywhere, but their head-to-head is the head-to-head.
It's got to mean something, and it's got to mean something to play yesterday's game. I mean, as bad as Alabama looked, I mean, the committee they actually went the easy route on this, right?
Yeah, I would say this. I think what they are showing is that was a September. It was opening night loss for Notre Dame, but it was a September win for Alabama. They're showing you that September games matter as much as November games and December games. And Tulane should be the 11th team when they pop them up. But my goodness, I would imagine they do a lot of talking about Notre Dame here.
Well, yeah, it's a pretty big story. I mean, Lance said, imagine you're in a coma and you wake up and see Indiana as the 1 seed. Imagine you go back and tell your dad when he's our age, Notre Dame does not get the benefit of the doubt, even in a 12-team system.
Why do you have to? Oh, I guess conference championships. Yeah, I guess so. JMU is in, right?
Or Duke.
Could be Duke still, but I would say with Miami being in that they're not going to give the ACC 2 at this point.
I would agree. I think that's you telling the ACC, we put your best team in.
Yeah, your best. Please, for the sake of these games, do not put James Madison in this.
Yeah.
Well, they're about to. They're going to play Oregon.
I would tell you they have appeased all the mouths they have to feed except 1/5 of it, and that is the Notre Dame mouth. So, again, I was doing it a way that you could have given all the power brokers a little bit by putting Duke in, leaving James Madison out, putting Notre Dame in, and that way you got Notre Dame in, you kept Alabama in to make Greg Sankey happy, and you put in an ACC team in Duke, but they chose violence on Notre Dame.
I cannot believe we have a Tulane Ole Miss rematch.
Yeah, that was a beatdown. Yeah, that was a beatdown, but
a lot's changed.
At least they know the speed of the game. They probably felt like they played their worst game all year long.
You love to go headsets. Who's got the advantage here, John Summerall or Pete Golding? I like Pete, but Summerall's got the advantage.
Oh, yeah.
You may not have said that in the first game. It's a lot to make up, I get. So we've only got one spot left. If you're just with us and you're completely unclear, Alabama did get in Indiana 1 seed, Ohio State 2 seed, Georgia 3 seed, Texas Tech 4 seed. Alabama's in the 8-9 game in Norman, Oklahoma. Winner gets Indiana in the Rose Bowl.
James Madison's in.
And James Madison is in. It's the 12 now as they will take on Oregon. We've got 2 group of 5 teams in.
Yep.
Winner of that gets Texas Tech. 2-11 there at Ole Miss. Winner of that gets Georgia. And that's the way the field has shaken out.
Yeah, that's a 21. It's a 3-touchdown underdog celebrating on the screen right now in Harrisonburg.
That's really cool, though. I mean,
that's a cool scene.
You know, it's one thing for a team to get into the field of 68, but for James Madison to get an at-large, well, not an at-large, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
How about we're about to have a 12-team playoff with 2 lame duck coaches and 1 replacement coach?
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable.
Well, and to your point on the ramifications on the landscape of college football, and we can talk more about this on the show tomorrow, but Notre Dame is the first team out. They're 1/5 of the voting party on the playoffs, but they're not in a conference. And I think the 4 conferences have just said to Notre Dame, and BYU is the second team out. Notre Dame, BYU, first 2 teams out. No love for Vandy, no love for Texas there. I would say the conference commissioners have just told Notre Dame, either you can keep playing with us, but if you don't like it, we can do it without you.
Boy, that, and it also tells you, I know the ACC championship game is an easy ticket to get into, but how irrelevant is that game now? They're not even the second team out.
No, you're right. It doesn't even get you a spot in the field. You know, here's what's wild is I thought going into today that we might see the death of the conference championship games, and Notre Dame sitting back there like, we're fine with the 12. We love this setup. And 30 minutes it has flipped to maybe conference championship games are so bad, and Notre Dame's now like, we got to have 16. I mean, it seems like it's probably flipped in the last half hour.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Notre Dame takes this, because I would imagine it gets tougher for them to schedule now with everyone expanding their conference games to 9 games. I would imagine they're sitting here saying, well, you know, we're 1/5 of this, but you have left us out. You have 5 SEC teams. You have an ACC team that did beat us head to head, but did not even play in their conference championship game. And you got 2 group of 5s. I really believe this is the end of the group of 5 in the party.
You think this is them getting 2 in was their final day in the game?
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah, we're fulfilling your contract here. We will have a new contract this time next month.
Yeah, look, and they're both double-digit dogs. I would say Oregon is probably 22, 23 over James Madison. I would list Ole Miss 11.5, 12 over Tulane.
Well, and again, another argument on this is, my God, you know, you guys got 2 teams in and you both have lame duck coaches. I mean, why do you have a spot in the college football playoff and you don't even have the coach that got you there hardly? You know, he's already taken another job. So even though they are going to coach, I understand that Chesney and Summerall are going to coach. But all right, well, we watched it together, boys. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm tired of watching these with you. It'd be nice if all of the teams that we cover are are easily in the future. Would make it a little bit more interesting. I mean, gosh, is this 3 in a row now, 4 in a row that's been down to the wire?
You know, yeah, and I think Alabama, you know, what's crazy is they got a great draw. You know, as bad as their offense is right now, I mean, Oklahoma's offense is right there with them. So it's like you can almost, if you told me what the turnover margin looked like in that game, I can tell you who wins the game. I think it's that simple.
Yeah, and to your point, LT, it's almost like the NCAA tournament when we are like, I can't believe they put that team in, and then what happens? That team's playing in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. So hey, we need to, and I don't know what the date on that Indiana, you know, hosting either Oklahoma or Alabama in the Rose Bowl, but
January 1.
New Year's Day. That's the reason it's in the Rose Bowl. They won't move off New Year's Day.
Okay. Well, I'll see you guys out there.
All right.
Well,
So you're making plans already.
I mean, look, it's really difficult to beat a team twice in a year. Yeah. Venables has had a great year. Kalen DeBoer. I know Alabama fans don't want to hear this is a much better coach than Venables.
They're tired of you saying that. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma's going to be a 3.5 point favorite, but I don't know. I mean, that's a coin flip game.
Well, I'll hop into the Ford 150 on Tuesday and drive out to Norman to cover the first round game, which is an automatic win for you already. And then we'll meet you all out in Pasadena. I'll just drive on out.
Keep driving. You just keep driving.
Hey, what is the date on that first round game? Do we know?
Well, I know what they don't have
or
the
20th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't set the actual date for that game, but they're the 19th and 20th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who would
Friday
you put
night,
on the
Saturday.
19th, Brown? Interesting. Would you put James Madison in Oregon, Tulane and Ole Miss, or would you put a good one?
Well, last year wasn't it Notre Dame, Indiana?
I think it was.
Yeah, I think you've got to. So is it just one on Friday and 3 on Saturday?
Yeah,
that's correct.
I think you go Bama, Oklahoma. I mean, Alabama's your most watched team this year. You're not going against the NFL on that Friday night.
I think I put one of the shitty teams on there on Friday night.
But that's your one game that's not going against the NFL, which is why I put a good game there. You know.
I see what you're saying. You stack up on a good rating game there, but
yep.
But you're throwing away. By the way, look up on your screen. Herb Street just left while he's still in the box. He's so quick out.
Good night.
I promised you guys 40 minutes. It's 42 minutes. I am out.
Yep.
You see the live TVU popped up.
But to your point, Dunaway, if you go on Saturday against the NFL with James Madison, Oregon, Tulane, Ole Miss, Miami, Texas A&M is at least an attractive game. But boy, I mean, Tulane, Ole Miss, and James Madison, Oregon could be bloodbaths against the NFL. It's going to be awful ratings.
Would this be the third year in a row we've seen Miami and Texas A&M?
Oh yeah, because they played in the regular season back-to-back years. Yeah.
Yeah, or is that 3 times in the last 4 years? I can't remember if both of those were Jimbo games, but I know Cristobal was part of all of those games.
Well, I mean, look, the second round's going to be really, really good. I mean, once you weed out those 2 Group 5s.
Yeah, to LT's point, that's a great point, LT. This time last year, we were talking about, we got more good first-round games, but there's a couple of second-round games that are duds because we had those automatic buys. Yeah. At least we fixed that problem, right? That New Year's Day is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and Chris Fowler lives in a Costa Rican jungle. Costa Rican jungle, it appears.
Damn, that is some growth, man.
It really is.
Get my man Rodrigo out there.
Does he live in Miami?
I thought he lived in New York.
Yeah, he don't live in New York unless he's in the middle of Central Park.
I thought he lived in Colorado, but that looks very Miami to me.
We got him everywhere. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk way more about this tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Actually, Dunaway will get it started with Luganville tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Believe it or not.
Nick Saban lives at some cigar bar. It looks like it's a very very nice little man's club here. Welcome to the Fox and Hound.
Dunaway tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, live with Tom Luganville. We'll have it on the show.
Right.
That's right. Don't forget that, Jim. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's the final Monday morning live. We'll discuss all of that, and they'll be able to look ahead at the playoff matchups as well. We'll discuss it all 9 to 12. Lance will have thoughts from Brock. Coming up after that, Brock Hewitt as well, which will be available after the live show. So we got a lot to get to tomorrow. Good luck against the Cardinals. Good luck against the Saints. Good luck against the Jets. Everybody go enjoy your NFL Sunday. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. with Dunaway.